When I studied jazz, we did lots of like exercises on like instinct. So like when you're playing or writing, particularly when you're playing, we had this exercise that was like play something, and then the next time you have an urge to play, don't play, and then the next time that urge comes along, then play. And like this whole exercise of like when to kind of trust your instinct to like express something and when not to. And I think, I don't know, like when I'm writing music, I sort of end up thinking in that way sometimes, like about adding things and just everything having to matter. And when I'm adding something, can this exist without it? And the same is kind of, I think that came from jazz in a way of wanting to contribute in like a band setting to the music rather than just like following my own instinct kind of. I mean, instinct's the wrong word, but you know, just following this desire to do something as opposed to like what's best for the music. So that's kind of abstract, but I think that those are the kind of things I think about when I think about my studies translating to writing electronic music, because in some ways you'd think it doesn't, but it actually does inform it in kind of conceptual ways, I think. Like the discipline of improvisation and jazz, not so much, you know, the like scales and stuff like that. I kind of think about that when I'm composing, but not really. And I guess obviously like studying rhythm did inform how to write music, I guess, as well. Yeah, that's kind of a good question. I mean, you could get onto like, what is jazz? But then like, I think, to be honest, the way I look at it is like, nightclubs now, people were dancing to jazz like in nightclubs from like the 20s onwards. And so in some senses I do see electronic music now as like a young music, not even just for young people, but literally it's young, you know, it's only 60 years old or whatever. And it's kind of a place, the clubs are kind of a place where people can go to like rebel, and, you know, jazz being kind of in the era of prohibition was somewhere where you could go and like, you know, stick it to the man and like listen to this weird, heinous music. And so in some ways I think like I would say that modern club music is jazz, like it's in the spirit of jazz abstractly, but I guess you couldn't necessarily like traditionally define what I'm doing as jazz music, but I'm all about this whole like spirit thing rather than it being sax, you know.
At a conceptual level.
Yeah.
It serves the same purpose.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah, exactly. I think that's what I'm saying. Yeah. A lot, really. I think it's more that being a jazz drummer or being like being a performing musician before I did live electronic music, I just got used to performance. So kind of capturing energy while you're playing and like reading how people respond to things, and even just like entertaining people. You know, it's like when you're drumming on stage, so much of that is like a visual thing that entertains people, and that did inform it. And obviously I loop drums, so I guess studying that, like I can play it, so that helped, you know. But yeah, I think a lot, like, but mostly getting used to performance and how to kind of, like I said earlier, capture those feelings you have, and when they're appropriate and when you're kind of overdoing it. You know, I got very used to like how you're going to feel in a performance situation versus a practice situation, and I now kind of feel the same in both, where it's very easy to run away with like all the adrenaline and stuff, but I think studying and performing so much music previously allowed me to just keep that kind of level head. Loads of things, to be honest. I do improvise. Like I just get a pack of tunes that I really like. Like I kind of, with the radio show, I regularly have like new music coming in and out of different playlists, and so I just bang like everything that I like onto a stick and pick from that. And yeah, I mean, I do improvise. it's a different kind, but there's also a nice thing of having, like, with other people's music, you just instantly have a mood, like, okay, this perfectly encapsulates what I want to do now, rather than you having to craft it all yourself all at once, and that's kind of hard to do. It's just a lot of people all together when you're playing a DJ set in terms of musical ideas. So yeah, and obviously like with the effects and all that kind of stuff, I am improvising, but it's easier, I suppose. But like, yeah. But that's not to take away from DJing, because you see some DJs and you're like, this literally is someone playing a musical instrument. Like, this is incredible. But yeah. It was really odd, to be honest, because when I was at college, obviously doing jazz, they didn't really know about electronic music that much. I don't think they really understood, because I shouldn't have really said to them I'm DJing. I should have said I'm like performing electronic music, but I think they instantly assumed I was like a famous wedding DJ or something. They were like, this is stupid. Like, and I was honestly, I was playing like 3 times a week for basically the whole time I was at uni, and then back in uni on Monday, I remember I went to Australia for 2 weeks for a tour, and then went straight into like a big band rehearsal on the Monday when I got back. And they were like not sympathetic at all. They were like, of course you're here on time, you're supposed to be. And I was kind of, I've just come from Australia here, and it's been a 32-hour flight. Like, it's pretty good that I managed to get here. And I got through it, but like it was kind of grim, because I had to give the DJing and my electronic music career everything at that point, otherwise it might not have happened. But at the same time, I was like fulfilling my like childhood dream of studying music at college, so I was constantly torn between 2 things that I really wanted to do, and exhausted all the time. So it was a challenge. I don't know, like, you kind of don't do that much when you're at uni anyway. I was like, I went in for like a few hours a day and stuff, and I practiced, which I still do, I guess. But I don't go into uni, so I guess it's just like more time making music in the studio or at home, and like meeting up with people and then gigging. I mean, it hasn't changed that much. It's just nice to have a bit more time, I think, in the week. That's it, basically. I mean, the reason I set it up was just I had so much music, and for one reason or another, it kind of seemed to take a long time releasing it with other labels, or not even that. It was not always right, or I'd have something done and then I'd change my mind, and the whole thing of it being in someone else's hands got to a point where I was like, maybe if I just do this myself, it will be. I'm kind of a control freak, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try and do this myself. And it ended up pretty easy, really. Like, you just call a dude and get it mastered and put it on the internet, And yeah, to be honest, I think with the imprint, I mainly just wanted to do my own stuff, which is why I called it PLMN, just because it was going to be, I kind of planned it to just be a series of releases, maybe with a few remixes, and then I have other ideas for other labels that will include other artists. But I don't know if it's the best idea to release other people's music on a label that's like named after me. I just kind of saw it as like a run of 5 or 10 white labels of like, here's all my stuff that I've been gathering for ages, and yeah, it just seemed like a good idea. Yeah, I said to you in the car, I kind of fallen down like this techno wormhole a bit, which I'm loving. Like, I just recently become so inspired by even like what you said, these droid noises, and like the whole dystopian thing of like being trapped on a spaceship or being trapped in a submarine, and just like, yeah, something about it's just really captured my imagination. It's not even specifically techno, although it is kind of manifesting through techno at the moment, but it's just a feeling that I have that I really want to run with in my kind of musical concept. So yeah, I just messaged Rinse, and I was previously doing the Swamp Show, which was great, but I just said, I've got this idea and I've got loads of really cool guests that have agreed to do this, so can I have my own solo show? And they said yeah, and I thought, okay. I was watching like a million deep sea documentaries every day, and like jellyfish documentaries and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, the Mariana Trench where is it? It's like off the coast of Japan. It's like the deepest trench in the world, isn't it? It's like the deepest point of the ocean. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, trenches, cool. And I think it's, I wanted it to just have a name and stuff, and it's just me being able to run with this like self-indulgent, like droid trench underwater thing. So I'm gonna do another record literally in a month or two. I'm really like want to start banging them out this year. Like no excuses, just put out this music that I've got ready, because I really do have like hundreds of tunes lying around that are in varying stages of completion. I've just kind of got used to putting things out slowly, but it seems now that you have to keep putting things out. So, and that's what I want to do. So I'm going to do that, which will be on Paleman in a couple of months. And then I'm working on an EP for another label, but I don't know if I can say yet. And then I'm also working with someone, which I don't know if I can talk about yet either, but we're going to do a record together. It's going to be a collaborative thing, which will probably be maybe towards the end of the year, maybe sooner, but it's going to be good. Like I've got some really good plans this year, just to release music. And then I'm playing live like next week, and then also in the start of April, and so hopefully a couple more live sets here and there. But I still want to be DJing, you know, it's just a bit of both. So yeah, more of the same, I guess. Loads of Luke Slater, Donato Dozzy, yeah, Blawan, like, I mean, I've said this for years, but yeah, he is just blowing my mind every time I listen to him at the moment. Ravel as well, like Bartok. Do you know Arvo Part? Like his music's like he's kind of famous. He's like an Estonian composer. I know that sounds really like it sounds really like hipsterish, but like, he's really great. Like I post his stuff on Twitter sometimes. He's like, yeah, he has this story about he met a janitor when he was in hospital or something, and he was like, what should a composer do? And the janitor was like, love every note. And this guy over Arvo Part was like, I just literally met God. You know, it's like that's such a deep thing. And he's like this kind of old Estonian dude, and the music he writes is honestly, it's incredible. Like I'll show you afterwards, or I'll write down a couple of things. And yeah, I'm just constantly listening. A lot of techno, basically. I'm doing my techno history, and that being interspersed with kind of classical music and like film scores, and not that much jazz at the moment. Like, I listened to like a Coltrane album called Sunship the other day, which is like a free jazz thing, but yeah, it's all, like everything, quite all over the place.